Good morning, everyone, and welcome
Hello.
to the 7th edition of the Smart Cities Application International Conference.
Hello.
A multidisciplinary forum co-organized by IPCB, Politécnico Institute of Castelo Branco, in the partnership with Mediterranean
Hello.
Association of Science
Can you hear me?
and Sustainable
Here?
Development.
Yes.
To welcome
Hello.
us, we
How are
have
you?
Yeah. Am I talking to Anil? Hello.
I can't listen you well.
Hello. Am I audible?
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine. What about you?
Fine also, thank you very much. I think that you are from India.
Yeah.
Okay, what time is it in India now?
It's 1:35 p.m.
For our welcoming session, we have Vice President of the Politécnico Institute of Castelo Branco, Professor Luís Farinha, President, Chair of the Smart City Application Conference, Professor Rogério Dionísio, and Co-Chair of the Smart City Application Conference, Anwar Boudir, Professor of Ad Malek Essadi University, Morocco, that is joining us by Zoom.
Dear all, good morning. Welcome to the Politécnico Institute of Castelo Branco. On behalf of the President of the Politécnico Institute of Castelo Branco, Professor António Fernandes, welcome to this event. It's a great honor to receive all of us here. I hope that these 3 days of work will be fruitful, making smart cities and territories even smarter. Whether in the fields of education, health, mobility, energy reduction, environment respect, sustainability, or greater productive efficiency, I'm sure that the base lies in research, development, and innovation are consolidated. Thank you so much for being here, and welcome to the 7th Smart City Applications International Conference this year in Castelo Branco. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Well, good morning to all attendees. It's a pleasure to have you here in this 7th edition of the Smart City Application International Conference. Bonjour à tous pour nos collègues francophones qui nous accompagnent sur Internet et ici à Castelo Branco. I would like to thank a few persons and a few distinguished guests. First, Professor Luís Farinha, Vice President of the Polytechnic Institute of Castelo Branco, for being here. Also, Dr. Leopoldo Rodrigues, President of the City Council of Castelo Branco. I would like also to thank João Carrega, Director of the Ensino Magazine newspaper, and also Professor Cristina Calmeiro, representative of the Ordem dos Engenheiros. Also, a big thank to Professor Ismail Caras for sharing the publication process in the ISPRS, and also Professor Ben Ahmed for sharing the publication process in Springer. Well, the Smart City Application is a conference that aims to bring together research scientists and engineers to discuss and exchange both experimental and theoretical results, novel designs, case studies, and trend-setting ideas in smart cities. The conference covers many topics with an intersection with smart cities, including geo-smart information systems, education, healthcare, economy, and digital business, building and home automation, environment and agriculture, and information technologies and computer science. In total, we have received submissions from 25 countries, starting from Algeria, Belgium, Canada, Czech Republic, France, India, Indonesia, Iran, Italy, Kenya, Lebanon, Luxembourg, Malaysia, Morocco, Philippines, Portugal, Saudi Arabia, South Africa, Spain, Sri Lanka, Switzerland, Turkey, Ukraine, United Kingdom, and the United States. The total number of reviews was 326, and the acceptance rate was 49%. 80 papers will be presented in 2 days, during the 2 days of the conference, organized in 14 technical sessions. The second day of the conference will be fully online, in a fully online format, with session links available on the program brochure that you have with you. The third and last day will be dedicated to social activities. Once again, thank you for your presence, and have a nice day.
And now, co-chair of the Smart City Application Conference, Anwar Boudir.
Bom dia. Muito bem, então, muito bom dia a todos e a todas. O meu colega de painel, mesa neste caso, muito obrigado. Agradeço o convite em nome do Sr. Presidente da Câmara Municipal de Castelo Branco para estar aqui hoje nesta abertura do importante evento dedicado, portanto, às cidades inteligentes. Peço desculpa. E lá estamos a falar de inteligência. E começava exatamente por cumprimentar, não sei se está o Sr. Presidente do Instituto Politécnico de Castelo Branco ou o seu representante aqui presente, muito obrigado uma vez mais. Felicitar, obviamente, o Instituto Politécnico de Castelo Branco por esta iniciativa por acolher esta iniciativa. É uma iniciativa relevante, uma iniciativa cuja temática está na ordem do dia e que, portanto, faz todo sentido, ainda para mais, penso eu, num território como o nosso, num território de baixa densidade, exatamente pelos contributos que pode efetivamente dar esta temática e este encontro em particular aqui à nossa região. E, portanto, os meus parabéns também, em nome do Executivo da Câmara Municipal de Castelo Branco, ao Instituto Politécnico de Castelo Branco, que no fundo está a fazer aquilo que deve fazer, que é no essencial de criar pontes exatamente entre a academia e também a sociedade, enfim, promover o conhecimento, o desenvolvimento tecnológico, a ciência, no essencial. Diria que, em termos muito práticos, que hoje, como disse há pouco, falarmos de cidades inteligentes é falarmos essencialmente de planear mais e melhor, é falarmos de sustentabilidade ambiental, é falarmos de um conjunto de temáticas que efetivamente estão na ordem do dia e que nós temos que ter em conta não apenas no domínio da academia, mas também no domínio daquilo que são os privados ou no domínio daquilo que é, digamos, a gestão autárquica, por exemplo. E a este propósito, gostava aliás de dizer que também a Câmara Municipal de Castelo Branco está focada neste desígnio, digamos que de trazer mais inteligência, mais tecnologia para aquilo que é o território do Concelho de Castelo Branco e para aquilo que é, no fundo, vamos dizer, a inteligência na cidade de Castelo Branco. Eu penso que temos feito algum trabalho a este nível, anteriores executivos também o fizeram, nós continuamos a apostar também naquilo que são as dinâmicas tecnológicas para também tornarmos Castelo Branco numa smart city, sinceramente prefiro cidade inteligente, numa cidade inteligente que permita atingir um desígnio maior, que é o desígnio do cidadão, no fundo do bem-estar do cidadão, da possibilidade dessa tecnologia estar ao serviço desse mesmo cidadão e de aumentar a sua qualidade de vida. E, portanto, quando penso em cidades inteligentes, penso sobretudo num conceito que implica, no essencial, planeamento, que implica antecipação, que implica resposta, no fundo, a necessidades, muitas delas podem ser correntes ou não, que implica, no essencial também, sustentabilidade ambiental, promoção de uma sociedade mais inclusiva socialmente e que implica, de alguma maneira, trazer benefícios ao cidadão, a todos nós, a todos, neste caso, em Castelo Branco, a todos os municípios. E digo isto exatamente porque entendo e entendemos que a tecnologia só por si pouco vale se não estiver, como é óbvio, a responder a uma necessidade, a um projeto, a uma ideia que o homem, enfim, apresente e desenvolva. E, portanto, é esta capacidade de colocar a tecnologia ao serviço dos munícipes, ao serviço do outro, que também o município de Castelo Branco tem vindo a trabalhar. Desde logo, ainda recentemente, concorremos a um projeto bastante interessante neste âmbito, que procura articular tecnologia com comércio. E, portanto, é um projeto também, estamos a aguardar, enfim, o resultado do mesmo, mas tudo indica que será um projeto para vingar, com um conjunto de soluções bastante interessantes e de promoção daquilo que é o nosso comércio local, nesta relação. Como também sabemos, Castelo Branco integra uma rede de cidades inteligentes, tem trabalho na área também da telemetria, por exemplo, ao nível dos serviços municipalizados de Castelo Branco, tem vindo a sensorizar alguns circuitos e também, particularmente, porque me diz mais respeito, na área da mobilidade urbana, tem vindo a apostar também naquilo que são as tecnologias, nomeadamente ao nível das diferentes apps que têm vindo enfim, que temos hoje. Portanto, nós hoje conseguimos, finalmente, conseguimos saber a que horas passa um autocarro numa determinada portanto, estação, num determinado abrigo, numa determinada paragem. Hoje conseguimos saber quantas pessoas andam nos autocarros, quando é que entraram, quando é que saíram, e, portanto, isso só por si pouco, diria eu que pouco significa, mas depois efetivamente, são elementos importantes de apoio à decisão do ponto de vista daquilo que são as políticas a desenvolver no âmbito do município de Castelo Branco. Bom, só para dar aqui, obviamente, alguns exemplos daquilo que também o município está a fazer e daquilo que o município tem vindo a trabalhar e neste momento, inclusivamente, estamos a trabalhar do ponto de vista do orçamento para o próximo ano, para 2023, e temos também algumas iniciativas que vão ao encontro desta inteligência, digamos assim, nas cidades. Portanto, dizer que é para nós um enorme gosto estar aqui, agradecer novamente o convite e a todos os que nos acompanham, quer aqui presencialmente e quer via online, cumprimentá-los a todos e dizer que, naturalmente, a Câmara Municipal de Castelo Branco está, como sempre esteve, disponível para acolher e para apoiar também este tipo de eventos, felicitando, obviamente, novamente, o Instituto Politécnico de Castelo Branco e a organização pelo mesmo. Bem-ajam. Eu lembrei-me agora que isto era um evento em inglês. Enfim, fico aqui um treino para português.
Ok, eu de qualquer maneira vou fazer a introdução. So, we have here the representative of the municipality of Castelo Branco that I wish and I thank him very much for being here. Since the municipality is also a sponsor of the conference, double thank you for your presence. And now we'll switch to Professor Anouar. I believe we can do this, otherwise we'll have to open the session in another computer. Well, since we are having some technical issues related with the sound of Professor Anwar, I propose to continue and we'll go on with the keynote speech, and then later on we'll contact Professor Anwar for his welcome message. So, please.
And now we welcome our first keynote speaker, Lloyd Monteiro. Lloyd Monteiro is a postgraduate at the International Business Managers School from the Politécnico University of Madrid and president of Smart City Cape Verde Foundation.
Good morning, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, thank you, Professor Maria. Mr. President of the Institute Politécnico of Castelo Branco, Dr. Antonio Fernandez, Mr. President of the City Council of Castelo Branco, Mr. Jorge Manuel, dear conference chair, Professor Rogerio Dionisio, dear conference co-chair, Professor Ben Ahmed, Professor Domingo Santos, Professor Ismail Rakib, dear local organizing committee, dear keynote speakers, dear participants, dear colleagues, researchers from Turkey, from Morocco, from Portugal, from Castelo Branco, from all institutions over the world, dear PhD students, the conference that we are pleased to open today and which you have been willing to assist in is the culmination of a process of collaboration and partnership between the co-organizers, Institute of Castelo Branco and Association Mediterranean Association of Science and Technology, and who did us the honor to accept to be partners of this activity of science and research. As a member of the co-organizing association and co-chair of this conference, I am delighted finally at this new alliance between the main collaborators reported and who are perfectly in phase. We live here a typical case of close collaboration, and we hope that we will be regular between our institutions. All the preparatory work of the SCA conference is a joint effort articulated and well expressed by organizing committee members. In this sense, we thank the local chairs of the conference, Professor Rogerio and Professor Domingos and their teams who dedicated efforts and time to the organization and implementation of all the necessary logistics before switching to this hybrid conference mode. And here I can testify the very rich collaboration of Professor Domingos. First of all, he was one of our participants in two editions, 2017 and 2018, with his very valuable and high quality contributions. He was also a keynote speaker for two editions in 2019 and 2021. And also he was the chair of sessions in 2020 online in Turkey. And now he is one of co-organizers of this conference. Thank you, Professor Domingos, for this collaboration, a very fruitful collaboration. I would like also to thank all the participants who participate in this joint effort and did not count their time or energy for the success of this scientific event. In particular, we would like to address our thanks to all authors who believed to or in a SCA conference by submitting the research, to the member of technical program committee who took their considerable time to participate in the review process and for the selection of the very high quality papers. And here I address my thanks to the local committee from Portugal, local committees from Morocco and also from Turkey. And here I mention Professor Ben Ahmed, the co-chair of this conference and co-founder of this conference series. Professor Ismail Rakib, who co-organized the 2 past editions, and Professor Bernadetta from Stuttgart University in Germany. I can't give my talk without thanking keynote speakers for sharing knowledge and time. In this point, we would like to present my thanks, or our thanks, for Professor Susana Sargento from Portugal, Professor Teodora Loli from Serbia, Madam Lloyd Monteiro from Cabo Verde Foundation, Professor Juan Corchado from Spain, Professor Andy van Dien from Netherlands, me and the Moroccan committee, we really regret to not having been able to be present in this in Castelo Branco, and we really miss this face-to-face edition after 2 years organized online and successfully in Turkey. We hope that you enjoy in those 3 days in research exchange, in networking, and also by visiting the nice city of Castelo Branco. Ladies and gentlemen, in renewing our thanks for this exceptional mobilization, which testifies to the synergy which characterizes any researchers, we wish your work full successful. Thank you very much.
And now, our first keynote speaker, Lloyd Monteiro. Lloyd Monteiro is a postgraduate at the International Business Management School from the Politécnico University of Madrid and president of Smart City Cape Verde Foundation. She will present the Responsible and Resilient Smart Cities, the model proposed for African smart cities case study of Cape Verde. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'd like, first of all, to thank you, Mr. Rogério, and all the organization for inviting us to be here and share with you the work we are doing in Africa, especially in Cape Verde Islands, regarding the smart city development. We have this last year we participated on this book that is Resilient and Responsible Smart Cities. It's a group of Cape Verdean experts who works on smart city. We have myself, Lloyd Monteiro, Claudino is on the energy sector, I'm civil engineering. We have Álvaro, he's social, related to social issues, and Guevara is in technology. Well, I'm a civil engineering. I work for about 23 years in urban planning and development, but as the world changed and technology developed, I could not plan cities like we did 20 years ago. We know how technology is impacting our lives, so we had to change the way we plan cities and using more technology to improve people's life. But we found that it was very difficult to do it only on the planning design. We had to involve people. And for that reason, we had to create this Smart City Foundation, because we had to work with other nonprofit organizations, and they don't work with private sector, they work with nonprofit organizations, so we had to create this Smart City Foundation for Cape Verde to focus on the research, capacity building, incubation related to the smart city issues. For the presentation, I have 4 points. The contextualization, Cape Verde city challenges, then I will speak about the smart city models we are studying to implement, and a case study on the smart neighborhood called Safendi that we tried to implement some innovation. As you all know, the African is completely different. Our challenges are very different than Europe, United States, especially the sub-Saharan Africa. According to United Nations, we're going to have 6 out of 10 people will live in cities, and the number of cities will be tripled by 2050. And 2/3 of these cities are supposed to be in Africa and Asia. So, which means that Africa and Asia have new opportunities to have new cities well and better designed. Cities are where most of the things happen. 80% of the PIBs on the economy is in the cities, but also this brings great challenges to our cities, especially when we talk about rapid urbanization, and a lot of demand on natural resources, great impact on climate change, and increasing demand on the service like transport, health, housing, education, social care, and this brings also another big issue on the social inclusion. We see that we are having a lot of problems in social inclusion on our cities due to this rapid growth, and the governments are not able to cope with this. Yes. Sorry. Yes.
Sorry.
Just a minute, we're having some issues.
Okay. People online
Cannot see.
Yeah. Este é o púlpito.
So the people online are not able to see the presentation, that's why they're trying to correct this. Sorry.
Everybody's waiting.
Okay. We'll restart. So I was saying we found some issues regarding the social inclusion with the rapid urbanization and also a climate change, which is one of the biggest challenge for the world, but especially for Africa. African cities, that's what we saw here, you know, when you compare to Europe, it's completely different. We see that we have many cities, they grow without planning and no regulation. People just settles down, and this it's really a huge issues, because these people then they are very vulnerable, and most of the government cannot cope and bring solutions. So there is a really need for thinking how we can build capacity building within the people, so they themselves can bring solutions for their problems and be more resilient to the challenge we find. Talking about smart city, what exactly is the smart city? There is no agreed definition what is a smart city. We find it's a concept that has been matured and has evolved from being strongly biased to the technology to more central citizen concept. And for our model, we want to focus more on the people and bring technology as an instrument to help change their lives and have more quality. So we have the Ericsson and Rangel smart city. They define smart city as an umbrella concept that describe the use of technology in cities to improve public service, increase efficiency, reducing the cost and resource consumption, and address society changes to foster collaboration between citizen and government. And the domains we use is the EU domain for smart city, where we have smart people, smart economy, smart governance, smart mobility, environment, and smart living. So we joined all these six domains to work our smart city. For Cape Verde's city challenges, Cape Verde, I don't know if you know of you have heard of it. It's 10 islands, 500 kilometers from the coast of West Africa, and it has, these islands is fragmented territory, so we don't have a continuous territory, which brings significant challenges on connectivity problems and also on services. For instance, we are very small, but we cannot have one airport. Each island probably will need an airport, which if we were only one territory would be easier for us to manage our infrastructure and our services. But although we have these issues, Cape Verde has been developing considerably its economy, and tourism is our main economic activity, and it brings about 25% of GDP. For a small archipelago, like I showed before, the challenges are even higher with the discontinuity, with the rapid urban expansion. We need to really work to tailor the solution to our dimension and our needs. And that's what we focus on this presentation. These are some indicators, since until 2019, before COVID, we had a very interesting indicators when we look at the whole Africa. We were number 3 on democracy, number 1 in political freedom. We were number 3 on transparency and governance. Number 3 and number 4 economic freedom, number 3 in quality of life. So that showed us we have really worked to get good results on the quality of life for people in Cape Verde. So we think we were already in a good path towards a smart city solution. The capital of Cape Verde is Praia. So it's in Santiago Island, and is the city with more challenges. Like we all know, the capitals are almost the ones with more issues. We have in the capital 155,000 people, which is about 30% of the total population. We have a big issue on youth unemployment, 68% unemployment on youth from 15 to 24. and approximately 60% of the population lives on informal settlements, which grows spontaneously with lack of services and brings some real serious issues. So we believe that if we want really to make our city smart, we need to start working on the settlements where we find most number of population, like we see 66% is there on that environment. For the model, what we try to do is use our challenges and bring it into this smart city domain. And the challenges we identified most, well, we had COVID, who changed a lot of things. We had rapid growth, population growth, the climate change impact, the inclusion, the unemployment, and lack of resources. And you see how we can, with these challenges and this domain, what we can do to improve and make a better life. So basically, for the domains, what we focus on, for instance, smart people. We believe that cities are people. If we take people out, city does not exist. So we need to focus people and give them the skills they need to bring their creativity and bring solution to their own problems. For the economy, we try to see the DNA of the economy of the city, because each city or village have its own DNA that can improve, that can increase his economy. So we try to find where it is and see how we can grow up that economy. The environment is all the same, is protect the environment and the diversity, and take care of our resources that are very little. For mobility, we have also this issue, because it depends, the mobility is very important for the quality of life of people. And we find a lot of, we focus more, people focus more on mobility with transport, the cars, but we need to look at the bicycle, even people walking, to bring more health within the cities. The governance is the key, because if we don't take the right decision, transparent and responsible, we are not going to help our cities to be smart. And last but not least is the quality of life, the smart living issue. The model, the transformation we want to make, the objective is to empower and transform people to make themselves contribution to the smart city, especially for the neighborhood, the community, and partner with the local and central government. So that's the way we work to do this transformation. And the solution is to create an ecosystem to enable this transformation. Because it's transversal, we need to have the ecosystem for that. And the results we want is to increase the neighborhood quality of life, to bring economic income, improve skills on the people, improve the urban environment, improve health and education, gender equality, and have place for innovation. For the action plan, what we propose as action plan, first thing we do is do a diagnostic of the neighborhood, and then we organize them as a community to do to manage their own community. Then we start the empowerment on the different areas, on economy, on environment, on living. The leadership is very important. We find that the leadership is the key for sustainable development of the neighborhood. So we needed to prepare them for the leadership within the community, so they can communicate with the leadership of the municipality and the central government, and also give the visibility of the project, so this could be taken to other community as well. We had the different activities proposed. First thing was internet access, because the municipalities or these communities don't have internet access, and without internet they cannot get all this knowledge that are available on internet. So the internet access, the vision what they want from their municipality, the capacity building. So all these, you can see all the activities we propose. Community crowd fund to raise funds to implement their project. As far as the application, we had this HARD. It's an application that we used for management of the community, where most of the residents had the application, and they could communicate with the leadership of the community to give information and get information of the community. For the Safend is the place where we start putting this idea in place. Safend is a community that have about 6,000 residents. They represent almost 5% of total population of Praia, the capital. And they are one within the 57 neighborhood we have. And they have only 3% of people over 65 years old. And 65 of them are women. So we see most of the population there are young, between 15 and 34 years old. But they have a lot of issues, social issues, with drugs, alcohol, and so on. And using the model we said, we try to implement a transformation on this, in this community. And doing the diagnosis, we found out they had very economic deprivation, high unemployment, absence of urban infrastructure, social inclusion. They had many segregation and stigmatization. But after implementing this, we found, one thing we found, 70% of the people had cell phone. So cell phone and internet is a great tool to correct or try to improve the life of people in these communities. The access, they had cell phone, but access, they didn't have the access to internet. They didn't have money to pay to have megas, like we called. But what we did, we worked with the operators, and we put several space for free internet throughout the community, which that helped a lot, because most of the youth had something to do and had some programs related to the access to internet for their improvement. So this is just to say the importance of ICT to bring the quality of life and bringing smart city into reality. Some results after 6 months, like I said, we had from 0 point for access to internet, we could get 4 points there in 4 different areas. We introduced the app for management of the community. We could see the difference in the community at the national level, because other communities wanted also to do the same. And as a conclusion, we can see that there is this bottom-up approach to make changes on the community. It worked, because the top-down is very, very difficult to reach the people. The question of using apps for management of the community also was very impactful. And we need to see more public policies and funds available to make the change on this informal settlement. We are still developing this project. We are still working with the communities, but this is where we are at the moment, and that's what we propose for the change for the smart city for Africa, based on our challenges. And I think I'll stop from here. It was just to give an overview of what we are doing on this regard. Thank you very much for your time and attention. And if you have any question, we are available.
Yes, I believe I have now. Okay. Thank you very much for your very interesting presentation on a specific case study in a country in Africa where we can see that technology may be one of the key points for development, but not the only one. So I open the floor for questions. If someone wants to add a question, please.
I noticed you said the average unemployment rate from young population was rather high, and the young population was listed as from 15 to 24 years old. So is the legal work age in Cape Verde 15 years old?
Well, there's some works that you can do at 15 years old, but the age they take on the studies they do on statistics is from 15 to 24, then they have to 35.
So similarly, so once you introduce the internet, free internet to these community, to this community, was there a follow-up, some kind of study, basically assessing that the unemployment rate, did it affect the unemployment rate, or did it affect the youth? Yes, they all have free internet, but they all could be just watching YouTube. You know, so not to be condescending, I'm just trying to figure out, did it have a positive effect?
Yes, thank you very much for your question. The introduction of the application was done at the time of COVID, where people were confined, and the objective of the application was for them to communicate, since they could not leave the house, but they had some issues with food. Some of them didn't even have food. So it was to communicate with the management of the community to help during the COVID. So when we started, most of people had mobile but didn't have the money to get the data on the internet. So that's why we created these free spaces for them to send the message they need to communicate. But the idea is it's a new project. We're still ongoing. So next step is to use the internet for capacity building and skills, and after that for jobs and so on. Thank you.
I found it very interesting, the approach, because it's a different approach from what you used to in Europe. And the model you presented, it seems very well designed and adjusted to the specificities of Cape Verde and the special neighborhood where you work. I think your focus is absolutely correct, to focus on people, on the well-being of people. Nevertheless, I would like to see also some focus, some attention to the dimensions of competitiveness, dimensions related to competitiveness, namely the help to overcome the digital gap of micro and small enterprises, even concerning the high employment rates that were already mentioned. So, is it a subsequent phase for your project? Thank you. Is it a subsequent phase for your project to focus more on affairs of competitiveness of micro and small enterprises?
Yes, like I said, it's a new project. We are in the first phase, and we focus on the settlement where you don't have enterprise right now. So the idea is to give them skills and then help them through the incubation, getting their companies or their small business to create income. So, like, this phase is focused on this environment. So next phase or on the other project, we can focus on more higher level regarding the companies, the transformation of the companies. But right now the project focuses on the settlement that we have. Yeah, thank you.
Meanwhile, I have a question for you. I recently participated in a workshop to empower people on new technologies like IoT, but you are also offering other workshops more on the technical issues. Can you talk a little bit about those workshops that are for the people?
Yes, one of the sectors or one of the areas that we work is capacity building. And during this capacity building, we do like short workshop to improve their knowledge on technology. And recently, like Rogério said, I invite Rogério to give a course on IoT and with the youth to show them how to use IoT and how to create innovation with the technology. And we had a student, a girl, who really learned the IoT, and she started implementing a smart building, some improvement on the building where our office is. And it was a very interesting experience, which I thank Rogério because he had a great impact. But the idea is start from the scratch and then go improving continuously. Thank you.
Is there any more questions from the audience? No? Maybe I can ask if there is any questions from the remote audience. No, maybe not. So, since we still have time, then I will thank you once again for your very nice presentation, a very interesting presentation, and once again, the big applause for Hugo.
Thank you very much, and we are open to input to improve this project. Thanks.
Thank you very much to Engineer Lloyd Monteiro for this insightful presentation.
Now we will switch to an online presentation. Be patient, we will have a few more moments before starting. Thank you.
Hello, everyone.
So now we welcome our second keynote speaker, Teodora Lolic. Teodora Lolic is an assistant professor at the University of Novi Sad, Faculty of Technical Science, with a PhD in Industrial Engineering, Engineering Management, Unit Manager, COE, Salesforce of Devotium, Serbia. Her presentation will be the Extended Information System Success Measurement Model. Thank you.
Just a second. Would you like me to start or to wait at least 5 more minutes? Okay, then just a second to share my screen. Please, can you enable me to share screen? Thanks. I'm still not able to share. Yep, sure. Okay, let me check. I'm still not able. It says has disabled participant screen sharing. You should go on my name in the corner, and I believe. Yeah, sure. You need to give me an access. Okay, I got it. Okay, we're good. Okay. I believe you can see my screen now. Can someone please confirm?
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. Then I believe I can start. It was a poor sound, I didn't hear, but I believe you already introduced me briefly. I will take just a piece of time to introduce myself. So hello everyone, good morning. It is my real pleasure to be here today with you. Unfortunately, I'm not able to be there as I should, but on some other occasion, I will definitely be with you. My name is Teodora Lolic. I'm an assistant professor at the University of Novi Sad at Faculty of Technical Sciences. And why am I here? This is not strange because Faculty of Technical Sciences has already 5 years really strong connection and really good relationship with Castelo Branco, so with the Polytechnic Institute. So thank you, Professor Rogério Dionisio, for inviting me. definitely it will be my pleasure to present you today's topic. So as you see, my topic is not that closely related to smart city topic of this conference, which by the way seems to be really interesting, and I wish you good luck in the future days and the extent of today's day. But the extended information systems measurement model is actually a study that has been conducted together with Politécnico Institute of Castelo Branco. That is why today I'm honored to present you the results of this amazing study we had. Okay, let me briefly take you through the agenda. So to have a sense of what are we speaking about, sorry, just a second to, what are we speaking about? So I will give you a brief background of the information system success and research that has been conducted before, explain you what was the research goal and also limitations, give you the insights of the research model, how we defined it, and the hypotheses that have been developed. Finally, I will lead you through the methodology and the data collection procedure, so presenting the measurement instrument development and institutions that were research participants. I'll present you the results and a discussion, and finally I will conclude and also present some future work. So today we're speaking every day about some innovations. So this conference is also related to smart city. So even though the information systems need to be applied also in the smart city, I believe this topic can take place in this conference. Investments in the information and technological structure, according to the report of the world's largest companies, so from the information technology industry, took almost the largest share in company investments. So companies are investing in the IT most of their time. So bearing in mind that these investments are mainly based on the implementation of some new information system or the upgrades of the already existing one, it is extremely important for companies to know whether these investments will pay off in terms of future business. We know that huge amount of money is always investment in information and technological infrastructure. Therefore, it is necessary to determine the success of these systems that are implemented in the work environment. And depending on the context in which the information system is observed, different factors would definitely affect the success. That's why they need to be adequately measured. So the main motivation for this research was actually that. So in the last decade, the success of information systems has been the subject of large amount of scientific research. My research is also focused in the information system success measurement models. That's why this is one of my really close topics. So the models for measuring the success of information systems are taking the important place in research of this field. So we can examine and use different models to test different kinds of the information systems, such as e-learning, e-administration, e-business, etc., etc. So we are facing everything goes to electronic systems. So that's why we also speak about the smart cities, which is I would say the roof of all e-systems. The implementation of the information systems is definitely also a form, as I said, of technological innovation in the working environment. And this one is seen as one of the most common changes in organizations, obviously. So we've been facing the COVID changes, and we've been facing a period where we needed to work only through the information systems. That's why this study has been conducted also to see what factors are essential to keep up this learning process as usual as it was in the traditional environment. So not only the e-learning systems, so irrespective of the purpose of the information system, when we introduce a new way of working in the working environment, so this change can be implementation of the new information system, so implementing some new system for the first time, or replacement or upgrade of an already existing information system. So finally, the users of these systems would face those changes, and it's really important to consider how they react to such changes, because their reactions are also affecting the overall success and the acceptance of the information systems. So based on this whole research was primarily motivated by the importance of looking at the full picture of factors that influence the successful acceptance and use of technology in the work environment. You, me, every one of us also witnessed all those changes depending on the working environment, but huge percentage of people actually needed to move their business to the virtual environment. So this is also the COVID period made us available to see if we can move our business from traditional one to virtual one. And finally, we need to see, was that successful in the end? So, as I said, the main goal of this research was, of course, based on the previous scientific research in this same field, to propose a model that can be used to measure the success of information systems, finally, which will take into account the agility of workforce as also a significant factor in the intention to use and use of information systems. Definitely, also we're facing the extremely rapid progress in the development of technology. So this is a normal thing in the I would say last 2 decades. So many innovations have led to a high rate of growth in the use of information systems in all aspects of life. Also prior to Corona, but I would say that Corona made these things even faster. So one of the aspects that have been significantly emphasized in recent years is using the technology in the work environment, especially in the context of e-learning systems. Since many of us are coming from the high education institutions, we are witnessing that we've been using e-learning also prior to this period, and now we're keeping on with that one, also taking the good practices. So nowadays, in order to maintain the competitiveness, also universities and companies need to use the technology in all work processes. And this is most often reflected in the application of information systems that would, as we said, provide the different electronic services. Finally, in order for universities and companies to know whether these systems are successful, it's really necessary to determine the way in which the success of information systems is measured. But when we seek how we should measure the success, we would face a serious challenge in this topic, because there are many different models that are proposed in the literature to measure the success of information systems. This graph shows us that most of the research was conducted by the first model that was proposed by Dillon and McLean, so the information system success model, and it became the subject of many researches. Since then, also we've seen various improvements to this same model, as well as other models for measuring the information system success. They've been proposed. Most of them are not detailed enough to be, I would say, universally applicable to the information systems of different kinds. So some of them are related closely to e-learning, some to some different e-processes. Therefore, there is a need to introduce new items and factors into the already existing theoretical models, with conclusion of the aim of overcoming these identified limitations. This is not new. So from the previously presented researches, many people already tried to overcome these limitations by proposing completely new models or by integrating items from different models and thus creating the hybrid ones. However, by reviewing the state of the art in the previous decade and even more, no theoretical model was found that includes factors that could show the agility of the workforce. As I spoke in the beginning, it's essential to see how people react on changes that information systems are bringing to us. So that's why we need to seek for their response to these changes. That is why actually this research was motivated to include also these factors in the this model that I'm going to present you. So the research model and the hypothesis, so we can see in this slide, and I would briefly explain the background of it and how it was created. So as we can see from here, it consists of combination of previous two theories, which are separated ones, so UTOT and workforce agility, so the unified theory of acceptance and use of technology. Many people ask me why UTOT precisely. So there are many models that you can use. First of all, if we go step in behind, 3 years of study have been taken using UTOT. That is why I have also a background for this precise model. And I will explain what else is essential from UTOT model that made me choose this one. So basically, other information system measurement models are based on examining the technical components of the system itself. And here, as I said, I need to take into account that human factor is also huge, has also huge influence on the acceptance of the theory. And UTOT was the one that had factors explaining a bit of humans' perception of the system usage. That's why it was like main step to choose UTOT as a basic model. So UTOT starts from the assumption that users' expectations about the way they see the use of the system, whether they will have all the necessary conditions to use the system, and the perception of how the system is useful in their work are the key factors in measuring the success and the acceptance of the technology. So, as we said, the IT innovations are the most common type of changes in the work environment. So we need to require a response from employees in the direction of accepting the technology. Also, it's familiar that employees would often resist changes for various reasons. They fear of the new, ignorance of the information technologies, many other things such as these. For this reason, it's important to consider is the characteristic of an employee that also will influence the acceptance of the change. Is this thing needed to be tested in the usual way of working? That's why the workforce agility is a component that will, through, as we see, so from the workforce agility, with the component of proactivity, adaptability, and resilience, it will illustrate the behavior of users in the work environment when this change, as I explained, occurs in the work environment. So all these factors, workforce agility with factors of UTOT model, will form an extended model for measuring the success of information systems. Let me briefly take you through the factors just to have a wider picture what they represent. So the first factor, performance expectancy, I would define it as a degree to which user expects that the use of the system will help him achieve the results or increase performance at work. Through this factor, users state their expectations about the usefulness of the informational systems, their expectations of whether the use will increase their efficiency and productivity, and as well as whether it will facilitate their entire work process. Secondly, effort expectancy. It's explained as the level of ease of use of the system from the user's point of view. The social influence is a factor that is defined as the level to which a person perceives the importance of the opinion of other people from the same environment about the use of that information system. Facilitating conditions obviously are the conditions, so it's defined as the level of which person believes in the existence of the organizational and technical infrastructure to support the use of the system. Of course, these aspects are designed to remove barriers to use the information system. Intention to use, it's quite clear, of course, is defined as the overall person's reaction to using the system. And the final ones of the system use would reflect the activities through which person uses the information system. Looking through the other factors, this one is a bit different because the items belonging to this factor may vary depending on the specific functionalities of the information systems. So before starting the examination of the success, it is necessary to determine which items will be indicators of this factor. Finally, the UTOD has been widened with the workforce agility. So the point of the workforce agility, according to the authors of the original Minnesota theory of changes in the work environment, the work is viewed as an interaction between the individual and the work environment. At the same time, adapting to changes in work reflects the mutual action as one and the other in the direction of course, meeting the mutual needs, so from both sides. Finally, the agility of workforce would be the construct through which agility in behavior and execution of work tasks is observed. So not agility as a trait, so the person predisposition. This is defined as the efficiency in work changes. So large number of aspects would be related to the agility of the workforce, but they're classified, as we can see here, in three main factors: proactivity, adaptability, and resilience. So those are the indicators of the workforce response to the change occurring in the work environment. Precisely, the proactivity refers to the situation. I mean, it's obvious what means the proactivity, but the person, so these situations are like when the person initiates activities that have positive effects on the changed environment. So this factor would include behavior such as predicting problems that will come with the changes, initiating activities that lead to solving problems related to changes, and also thinking about the improvements in work, and solving problems related to change. Finally, the adaptability. This factor is based on the level of person's ability to change or modify themselves and their behavior in order to better fit into the new environment. So this factor would include interpersonal and cultural adaptability when working with people with different backgrounds and experiences. So the adaptive dimension will include also constant learning of new skills, tasks, technologies, procedures. I would say furthermore, the adaptive behavior would require professional flexibility, which is really important. And I would define that as the ability to assume multiple roles, to easily change from one role to another, as well as the ability and competence to simultaneously work on the different tasks in different teams. And last but not least, factor from workforce agility is resilience. This factor reflects person's ability to function effectively under stress despite the changing environment or the situations where coping strategies have failed. So this factor would accordingly describe positive attitudes toward changes, new ideas, tolerance for some uncertain or unexpected situations, and differences in opinions and approaches, as well as, I would say, tolerance to stressful situations that will bring us with the work environment changes. So finally, based on the knowledge that I previously presented to you, so the attitudes, achievements of the academic research from the background, and of course with the aim of developing the extended model for measuring the success of information systems. As we can see here, we have 7 basic hypotheses and 6 additional that are going to be tested accordingly and presented with the research results. So about the methodology, just to have an insight of how the research was conducted and the data collection procedure as well. So before the data collection process began, it was necessary to make I would say, the sketch of the dimensions associated with items. So in the process of creating the instrument for collecting data, we need to do the detailed analysis of the previous results in this field of information systems. So by reviewing the relevant research and the literature, there have been many theoretical models. And as we conceived this theory, finally, 9 factors were defined in this model. And these 9 factors are built up on 48 items, of which 39 were dictated by the theoretical models, and the rest may vary depending on the specific functionalities. If you remember from the previous slide, as I said, the actions of how you use the systems are different, having in mind of different kinds of information systems. That's why this number 39 differs from 48. Given that the factor of system use will be depending on the information system, as I said, we need to have in mind what are these functionalities that we need to track. And it were the 9 items that have been different in different institutions and different information systems. So the participants in the research prior to the data collections through the questionnaire, which was made as the main instrument. Myself, I've been included in this research since 2018. So I've been visiting many higher education institutions. So I became familiar with different information systems used in teaching process. This was probably the closest to me because I was also correlated to teaching process. So I've been collecting attitudes, experiences, and good practices from this area. So as a part of the qualitative part of the research, 5 structured interviews were conducted. So where people spoke in front of their institutions about the use of the information systems in the teaching process. It's also worth of mentioning that the decision was here to undertake the questionnaire with the teaching staff, not the students. It's much easier to communicate with students and to give them the questionnaire like, please fulfill it. On the other hand, it was essential for us to see the other side of the use of the information systems. So we need to see if they have everything needed, if they are satisfied. So that would definitely affect the whole process of working. In this case, since I decided to test it in the university environment, of course, it aimed to test the whole learning and teaching process. So these interviews, as we can see from the slide, they've been conducted from 2018 up to 2020, examining the use of information systems in the teaching process. We have University of Castelo Branco, Krakow University, the Aegean University, the University of Budapest, and the University of Novi Sad. What would be the most important, just not to go into many details of this slide. So it's been explained more or less what we have known from these institutions. More or less, we decided that the best two institutions to be included in the research at this moment, actually at that moment, were University of Castelo Branco and University of Novi Sad. Why was that? That was because in the other institutions, the information systems were just applied, so they didn't have that much users. But you will see finally in some future work, we would definitely include also these institutions. So what would be the conclusions? So by conducting these interviews during multi-year research in information systems in the teaching process and different institutions, we got the idea to further explore the possibility of expanding the UTOUT model. So we go back 3 or 4 slides. This is the explanation of why we used UTOUT. And also we found the need of including the workforce agility as one of the significant factors that will have the impact on the overall success of information systems. So going on the results and discussion, the empirical part of this research included the application of the research methodology, which I explained, with the aim of collecting data using both qualitative and quantitative methods. So the interviews and finally the questionnaire data collection. So the questionnaire as the instrument for data collection is, in case you didn't know, the most common quantitative method used in information systems research. So this empirical part in its first instance included the preparation of the measuring instrument. So you wouldn't go into research immediately, but you need also to do a pilot survey, which was conducted before the whole research with 20 to 50 respondents. So the purpose of this pilot research was to obtain the feedback from the respondents before entering the data collection process. That's the best practice, because when you go into the data collection process, there is no going back. At the end of this pilot study, certain items of the questionnaire were corrected in a manner to make them clearer in the final study. So this data, of course, collected during pilot study is not taken into account in the final analysis. In the second instance, selection of institutions was made. As I presented, we have 2 institutions. And finally, at the end of this process, so taking the data from both institutions, Castelo Branco and Novi Sad, statistical data processing was started, which included analysis of basic characteristics of items, so-called descriptive analysis, then identifying the factor structure using the exploratory factor analysis, confirmatory to confirm the explored factors, and finally the structure modeling. So going to the results of 2 use cases. First one is the University of Novi Sad. We had many more responses, but only 381. I mean, it's not only, this is a huge number in the field of research on the information systems. 381 was positive, so we could include them into the research. So briefly going through the results of University of Novi Sad. So the first one, as we see, factor analysis. This is a basic tool that will help researchers evaluate and develop a theory. In this process of identifying the structure of factors EFA was used to identify the exact number of items that would fit into the factors and thus form a measuring instrument by eliminating items that not fit. So that's why it says 9 factors were identified and 11 items were removed. So it left us with 37 items explaining the model. So after eliminating the non-matching items, we adopt the final structure of the factors. And finally, we conducted the confirmatory factor analysis to define and confirm those factors. So to conclude, the model with 9 factors and 37 items had adequate suitability indices according to the recommended values. Also, worth of mentioning, of course, really important is that reliability and validity of the measuring instrument took us to the unidimensionality, which is essential. We have many different dimensions that are correlating to the same output. Finally, in order to determine the homogeneity of the sample, there have been many analyses that were carried out, such as t-test, Levine's test of homogeneity of variance, then test of equality of means, one-way ANOVA, many more. So these were taken into account and led us to the conclusion of the sample homogeneity. And finally, square multiple correlations showed a total of 55.2. So we can see from R squares. I can explain the details afterwards, don't want to go now into the numbers. So more than 50% of the variance in the structure model. And finally, the hypothesized factor, intention to use, as we can see from the picture, from R square, was explained with 37.2 of the variance of the factors of performance expectancy, effort expectancy, social influence, and workforce agility. So out of all mentioned factors, the influence of the environment that are shown actually explain far the greatest effect on the factor of the intention to use. So the second assumed and dependent factor in the model, system use, was explained with 18% of the variance, with the factors representing it. Now I will also define, because in the next slides we would go into the hypothesis one by one, and I will explain. So from this picture we can see that definitely model was good, but some relations, the red ones, were not confirmed, and we will see what would be the conclusions for them. I see I have 15 more minutes. So the results from University of Castelo Branco, we had a slightly less number of valid responses, 149, and the results are as follows. So we can see from here, same things. So from EFA, we removed 13 items, which gave us the result of 30 items represented by 8 factors. Confirmatory factor analysis confirmed these factors. We also presented the unidimensionality of the measurement instrument, the homogeneity of the sample, and we had, through structural equation modeling, adequate suitability indices. We will see in the following slides, as I said, the presentation of each hypothesis. Here we can see only one relation was red, such not confirmed, but I will explain why we can see these differences in different institutions. So going through the hypothesis itself. So the first hypothesis, performance expectancy has a positive effect on end users' intention to use the system. Both hypotheses, so in the University of Novi Sad and the University of Castelo Branco, were confirmed with really high percentage. So the effect and the also associated hypothesis was confirmed. the second one. So the examination of this connection, as you can see at the University of Novi Sad, resulted in a negative path coefficient with minus 0.007. So it can be further interpreted as statistically insignificant. But the case study in University of Castelo Branco resulted in confirming this relationship with quite good p-value, so with quite good significance. Therefore, this hypothesis in the University of Novi Sad case was not confirmed, while it was confirmed in the University of Castelo Branco. So I would give a brief comment to the relations that were not confirmed. According to some prior research, importance of the expected effort would be greater in the earlier stages of using the system. So when process is represented by obstacles that need to be overcome. For this reason, it's necessary to consider and find out how long the information system whose success is being measured has been used before conducting this research. So from the results of the University of Novi Sad, we saw that 63% of the respondents really do have experience in using such information systems for even a year or more. And therefore, probably their perception in the effort has no influence on the intention to use. While on the other side, the highest number of the respondents said that the information system in question is one of the first information systems that they use. So maybe that's the answer to this. This relationship is proven to be statistically significant in Castelo Branco rather than University of Novi Sad. The third hypothesis explained us that it wasn't confirmed in the University in the Castelo Branco case study. So it's shown as negative and statistically insignificant. The influence of the environment has a positive effect on the intention to use the system was confirmed in the first case study and was not confirmed in the second. The hypothesis 4 was the lowest, definitely. The facilitating conditions had negative path in the both situations. But what I found out, so according to the research from field of e-learning, also from other fields of providing various e-services, it's seen that around 50% of the research presented this relationship as significant, while other 50 is rejected. So 50% is really, really tough if we look back in the background. But in these situations, we in the University of Castelo Branco, we didn't even have the possibility to deduct the factor in the previous analysis. What would we say that would be the possible explanation of lack of this effect is that respondents do not consider the facilitating conditions in the context of only this information system that has been tested, but because they received it in addition to, I would say, already existing digital work environment and all other e-services they used. And in this regards, respondents are very likely to perceive the existence of facilitating conditions even before using this precise information system, and maybe they were looking at the bigger picture of everything. So it might happen that they actually don't have all the conditions they would like to see. Skipping on the hypothesis 5, which was confirmed, so intention to use was confirmed to have an effect to the system use. And I would say the most important hypothesis, since these were the additional ones added to the prior theory related to workforce, only one hypothesis that explains the workforce agility resulted as not significant, so in the University of Novi Sad. It was not confirmed, but in the context of the environment in which the proposed model and all the hypotheses are tested, based on other statistical analysis that we tested, it is possible to draw conclusions similar for the hypothesis 4. So respondents most likely do not associate characteristics related to productivity only to this observed information system. In addition, the result also showed the respondents consider proactively as significant indicator of the overall success, which we see in the next slide. So we can say that, yes, maybe in this occasion, it's not confirmed, but on the other hand, the Castelo Branco resulted with a positive and strong path. That's why finally we can confirm the whole hypothesis 6 as positive and statistically significant. Looking through the eyes of the very last hypothesis, that workforce agility has an effect to the system use, same thing happened as the previous one. So the proactivity didn't show the effect on system use in University of Novi Sad, although it is a valid and significant factor, which we saw from different analysis. This factor in the teaching process at the University of Novi Sad was not significant predictor of the use, while at the University of Castelo Branco, this relationship has been proven. To summarize all the hypotheses, so the explained ones, which were set on the basic on the theoretical foundations, they were empirically tested in the environment of 2 higher education institutions, examining the participants in the teaching process about how they use the information systems in e-learning. So out of total 7 main and 6 additional hypotheses, we confirmed 5 basic and 4 additional when looking at the case study of University of Novi Sad. And in the case of Castelo Branco, 5 basic and 6 additional hypotheses were confirmed. Thus, we can conclude that as the main result, the extended model for measuring the success of information systems emerged. The model was created by combining 2 theories, Minnesota theory of changes in the work environment, so-called workforce agility theory, and the unified theory of technology acceptance and use. By combining these factors, the extended model is created, which, according to the knowledge and the state of the art, has not been found in the literature so far. This model was conceived under the assumption that is independent of the context of the information system, which means it can be used when you examine the success of information systems in e-government, e-banking, e-learning, etc. The practical implications of this work. So bearing in mind, again, that changes in the work environment are very often the result of the introduction of new or replacement of the existing e-service, it's extremely important for the organizations to find out whether such change contributed to the end improvement of whole business performance. One of the most common measures of the impact of the information systems in the working environment is actually the success, and it can be measured by examining the end users. That is the thing we conducted here. There are many theoretical models that can measure the success in different contexts. However, as I said, no model appeared in the literature that include factors of the workforce agility, which are, I believe, essential to present how they react to changes that information systems brought. Therefore, the model that arose as a result of this study, so from the aspect of practical applications, would offer every kind of organization an instrument which it can be used to measure the success of information system, also including the effect of the agility of the employees on the change it brings. What would be to conclude the future work, since we had some unconfirmed paths from both institutions. We already did the detailed investigations of these specific factors and found out why these connections were not confirmed. On the other hand, we had sample conducted from 2 institutions. In the future work, we would include also other institutions from higher university in one way and from other branches as well. So as the third step confirms, so we need to measure the information system in various branches. So to finally confirm, we've been creating and recreated the new model that can be used in future research. That would be all from me. Thank you for your attention. I'm open to all your questions. And once more, I would like to thank the organizers of this amazing event, inviting me for this session. It was really my honor to speak. I truly believe it wasn't that hard to listen. I tried to avoid the most part of the statistical analysis, but still to present the most important findings of this study. Thanks.
Reggie can open the sound from Maria João Simões. Thank you.
Everyone is ready for a break, I believe.
I don't know if you can hear me, Teodora.
Sorry?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I believe you have one question from a person from the online audience. We are trying to connect her.
Okay. I will give my best to understand. It's a bit, the echo of the sound is strong.
I like very much previous and this presentation, but I have a question.
Yes, of course, please.
In your research, why you don't include socio-demographic variables to evaluate the success? Socio-demographic variables as gender, age, ethnicity, socioeconomic conditions.
Okay. Yeah, I understand. Thank you, Maria, for your question. I must say that, of course, every research needs to include the demographics of the respondents. So they will also include, but those are on the beginning of the questionnaire. So if you're interested, I can also share, but many social demographics were included, such as age, professional status, then the computer literacy level, the amount of time they use the information systems by the day, their previous experience. So these things, demographic characteristics, helped us in also responding to some unconfirmed paths. As we saw from some unconfirmed paths, we looked for the analysis from demographics to find out why these relations were not confirmed. So they are also essential in this research. I only didn't present what were the questions related to them. But yes, the answer is we use them.
More questions? Well, I have a question for you, Theodora.
Yes, please.
Do you believe that if COVID didn't happen as it happened, you should have different results in your comparative analysis?
I'm not sure I understood because of the echo. It's really strong. Can you repeat, please?
Yes, I will try to repeat. I was talking about COVID-19 and the effect that it may have had on the results of your study.
Okay. I didn't hear it well. Maria, I don't know if you've heard, you maybe can say, but for me it's really very difficult.
Well, I will try one more time.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
If you have anything else on your mind, you have my contact,
Yes.
so I will be more than happy to answer any of the questions.
Okay. So I will skip this question and thank you very much for your presence.
Thank you very much. I wish you good luck with the rest of the conference, and we will stay in touch. Have a nice day, everyone.
Okay. Thank you very much once again.
Bye-bye.
We thank Theodora Lalique for this insightful presentation. And now we ask the attendees to join us at the coffee break in the bar. For all the authors for session 1, please save the presentation in the auditorium computer. Thank you.
Half an hour break. Well, welcome everyone. We will now start the first technical session with a set of very interesting articles that will be presented mostly face-to-face, although we may have one or two online presentation, last-minute change. So I just want to check whether everyone is here. So for the first article, Integrated System for Pressure Ulcer Monitoring and Prevention, we have Luis Fonseca with us. Yes, I believe so. Industrial Digitalization Solutions for Precision Forestry Towards Forestry 4.0. We have Geoffrey Spencer. Thank you. For the third article, Cloud Services for Smart Farming, a case study of the Veracruz almond crops in Portugal. We have Antonin Candeias. Yes, thank you. Leveraging Moroccan Arabic sentiment analysis using Arab, BERT, and Carib. Is there anyone here? Okay, thank you very much. Inspire Project, Integrated Technologies for Smart Buildings and Predictive Maintenance. I believe Fabiana Racco will present it online. She already told me. And finally, automated registration of building scan with BIM through detection of congruent corner points. Is there anyone here? No, so I believe the presentation will also be online. Well, thank you. So now I will ask Luis Fonseca to come to make his presentation. Thank you. So for everyone, presentation time is 15 minutes, including question and answers.
Good morning. My name is Luis Fonseca, and I'm here presenting the paper Integrated System for Pressure Ulcer Monitoring and Prevention. I'll be going through the introduction to the project and a few goals and requirements, then the related work done for the paper, the architecture and technologies for the system, and a few final remarks. This project is in development, and it's between Instituto Politécnico de Castelo Branco and the Sensomat company. Now, the Sensomat system is a pressure ulcer prevention system that is centered around body pressure information. This information, or rather data, is acquired from a sensor sheet that is placed under the mattress of a bedded person, and this under placement is very important, and I'll explain why later. And also, it comes with a web and mobile platforms that are for storing clinical data, and also accessing both clinical data and the real-time data sent from the sensor sheet. Of course, the main goal of the application is to support healthcare, not only the patients, but also the facilitators. The goals and requirements for the project, apart from the sensor sheet development and the applications development, initially were the creation of a few dashboards that would allow the management of users and patients alike, along with a few custom key performance indicators that would show how the system is performing in the facility and how the patients are doing using the system. One of the most important goals is also alert generation. These alerts will aid the medical staff by making sure that the patients have access to the care that they need, instead of only being checked on every few hours or so. The non-functional requirements initially set up were portability, making sure the system is available in as many platforms as possible. Security and privacy, not only for the application and platform, but also regarding the privacy of the patient's data, which is rather sensitive data, and the usability of the system, making it as easy to use as possible. Now, in the related work, we tried to find work that had technical approaches to either gathering sensorial data that would be useful for pressure ulcer evaluation, and then using this same data for the prevention of pressure ulcers. We found that most research work tended to stop their research after classifying the patient's lying position on the bed. But the ones that did go forward contributed in either monitoring the patient over time, notifying the health staff, personalizing the system according to patient's needs, actuation, which for example means automatically moving or shifting the patient's position if needed, and prediction, predicting how the pressure ulcers will evolve over time. The architecture for the system is represented in this diagram, and it's split two ways. The first section, the one on the left, represents the sensor sheet route data section, and it shows how the data goes from the sensor sheet, and then after processing is stored in a cloud server, and after that it goes through a few algorithms that determine whether or not this data is relevant to the second half of the architecture, the clinical data section, and also makes it available whenever requested. Now the clinical data section is where the clinical staff will input medically relevant information, like predisposing factors or already existing pressure ulcers. And these facts will then be cross-checked with the data coming from the left section of the architecture, and then generate the so-called alerts when needed. The technologies are also split two ways, and first, the hardware. The hardware layer of the technologies are mainly the sensor sheet, and this sensor sheet that I've talked before about has a bubble sensor matrix, and this matrix is where the pressure distribution information comes from. As I said before, the placement of the sensor sheet is very important, not only because in most works it is placed on top of the mattress, but the placement underneath the mattress makes sure that it doesn't mess with a few factors like temperature, or abrasion, or friction. And then it also has a Wi-Fi interface that is installed in the mattress and allows for the data to be collected wirelessly. The software layer on the technologies are mostly the web portal and the mobile app. And in here we have a few of the screenshots taken from the actual portal in development. On the left image, you can see a pressure wound registry screen where a user can input the information regarding an existing pressure ulcer on a patient. For example, here, there's a pressure ulcer on the left shoulder of the patient. And on the bottom image, the image captioned Braden history, is a table that refers to the Braden evaluations done to the patient over time. The Braden evaluations are used to measure how likely a patient is to develop pressure ulcers. And in here, because the image is color-coded, you can see that the patient is doing better over time. However, you can see it much more clearly if you see it in a graph. You can see that the patient goes from a relatively bad state to a better state over time. You can also see other charts, like the pressure ulcer stage chart here, which refers to a single pressure ulcer, so the medical staff can see how one of the pressure ulcers is doing over time. And then we come to the alarms that I talked before. Now these alarms are in the left side of the screen, represented by these squares. These squares are also color-coded, with the red meaning more important alarms or alerts that have been sent to the system recently. Then the yellow refers to alarms that have already been reviewed by one of the health professionals, but not yet resolved, and the green alarms list the resolved alarms. Now, whenever an alert is sent to the system, all of the users receive a notification, and the notification circled in yellow says that there's been a high pressure duration noticed on the right hip of the patient in bed number 1. And this is all dummy data, so don't worry about the patient. And once the user clicks on this notification or the corresponding alert, he is then taken to the bed information page. In here, he can see the various information about the patient, but also access a few screens, like the one represented on the right here, which is the pressure duration map. In here, the health professional can see for how long each of the body parts under pressure has been under pressure, and you can tell Probably not. That the right hip has in fact been in pressure for 142 minutes, which is a lot, but this again is just dummy data. So now, lastly, I'd like to end my presentation by saying that the system intends to aid healthcare by providing access to data in real time and the alerts on better patients when needed. Both the sensor sheet and the front end of the system are still in development, and data access and alerts that are displayed are still to be adjusted according to professional intake once we take it, if we take it to clinical trial. And the future work of the project includes increasing the number of sensors in the sensor sheet prototype for precision purposes, and once the prototype is finished, using it to gather pressure images for calibrating the algorithms that will be used for alert generation. I'd like to thank you very much for your attention, and I'll answer any questions if you have them.
Well, I open the floor for the audience for any question you may have. If there is no question, I always have a question. I believe that we may use artificial intelligence or machine learning algorithms in this prototype. Do you want to explore a little bit this question?
So, as I said before, most of the work tends to stop at classifying the lying postures of the patients. Now, this is done by using machine learning algorithms, because machines don't just understand that numbers mean positions. First of all, we intend to classify positions of bedded patients and then map that same position into the different body parts of the patient. From there, we can then cross-check with the information inputted by the health professionals and check when an alert needs to be generated according to each individual patient's needs.
You are talking about supervised learning?
Yes, that is the intention.
Any more questions? No, if it's not the case, well, once again, I thank you for your presentation, and we'll pass to the other one. Thank you once again. Well, our second presentation is from Geoffrey Spencer on industrial digitalization solutions for precision forestry towards Industry 4.0.
Well, thank you, Professor. Good morning, everyone. Let me see if I can. Okay, thank you. My name is Geoffrey Spencer, and I'm here to present you the industrial digitalization technological development in forest machines towards Forest 4.0, a research and development project aligned with the Smart Cut project, led by the Cut Plant Solutions, owner of the VCORT, located here in Castelo Branco. Well, this is my outline, where I'll introduce to you what's the aim of the project, present you the case of the study, the architecture of the project, focus on the developments made by IPCB. Wait, just a sec. There's no way. Well, the project is aligned with the Forestry 4.0's context, where we're trying to develop modular solutions for sensing, telemaintenance, and simulation of forest machines, which will lead to the diagnosis, telemaintenance, and forest monitoring and remote training tasks, reducing the assistance costs for the company. case of study. We can divide the project here in blocks, where we have at the level machine, where we're developing modular sensing solutions to establish the communication between the sensors and actuators based on the CAN bus protocol, which will communicate with the main controller, then with an LTE gateway that will give data package of data to the internet based on the mobile network. This data will provide the data for the diagnosis, teleoperation, and monitoring data forests, which then will lead to a digital twin for formation demonstration, where this data can simulate with real data the data that are collected for then to provide simulation and emulator for training tasks. Focusing here on the developments made at the institutions, we're here trying to develop the modules for the joysticks that are found in the operator's cabin, where we're developing modular PCBs communicating through CAN bus that will lead to the main controller and then communicate with the LTE gateway to provide more data for supervision and control platform based on the mobile network. On the end effector, we try to develop the same stuff with modules that we can connect to an array, where we can connect the sensors and actuators. On the left side, we have the same representation and how the LTE functions, where the main controller communicates via CAN bus to the LTE gateway and provides a package of industrial standard messages based on OPC, UA, and MQTT to provide the data. Here, for intern development testers, we develop modules where we could read and transmit and receive this message from the CAN bus, where we use some digital sensors and analog sensors to provide digital signals and analog signals, where we use a CAN analyzer to monitor the data that flows through the bus. And as an alternative monitoring device, we use here the Ethernet port based on the S232 protocol for the same purpose. Here is the joystick implemented at the joystick, is the joystick module implemented for the joystick, where we try to, it has a circular shape to be attached on the bottom of the joysticks, where the company developed a 3D plug-in model to attach the module on the base of the joystick. Here we have real photos, which are being tested right now with the module and the joystick. Final remarks. Well, this project obviously will bring more value to the company, bring in the digitalization to them, and increase the company's visibility. Thank you for listening.
Once again, I will open the floor for any question. No questions? So once again, I'll have to make the question. I was quite interested about the digital twin that you have there. Why is it so important to have a digital twin on this kind of application?
Of these projects. The benefit of digital twin on this project is that we can, from the collective data, we can simulate, we can provide simulations with real data. Okay. Yes, Manuel.
You know that being an operator of forestry machines, takes a long time, and it is a dangerous activity. So before including someone that has no experience in the field, he should be trained beforehand, before any accident may occur. So a digital twin is of the utmost importance. Okay. Well, thank you once again.
Thank you.
Well, and now we jump to the third presentation from Antonino Candeias. They will talk about cloud services for smart farming, a case study in the Vera Cruz almond crops in Portugal.
Hello, good morning everyone. My name is Antonino and I'm a student here at IPCB and I'm also doing a master's degree. Also I'm doing investigation work, so I took a part in this article, so I'm doing a brief presentation about it. So this project is about cloud services for smart farming, a case of study of Vera Cruz almond crops in Portugal. More precisely, the studies are in Fundão. The summary for this presentation is first, I will give a context of the project, its goals and a platform analysis, followed by architecture and its implementations. To finish, I will give a conclusion and some further research. I want to say this project is still under development. The Vera Cruz project. Vera Cruz is our partner company in the project. Our objectives are explore the integration of sensors and cloud-based technology in almond crops for efficiency use of the resources and reduction of environment impact, and provide relevant and impactful performance indicators in agriculture activity, using hardware like sensors and this data that will go to the software, like first TTN, the Things Network, and next Cloud, AWS, where you can organize and monitoring the data. So our current state of development is several data are collected by sensors and transmitted over layer 1, integrated using AWS IoT Core and monitoring and analyzed through a cloud business analytics services. Our model. This is our very summarized model. We have the data from the sensors that will pass to a business intelligence model and that will lead to a support and analytics analysis between 3 commercial cloud platforms for IoT applications. How we choose what cloud IoT platform we use. These 3 are very similar. Their characteristics are pretty much the same or very look like. The GSP have the disadvantage of not having device simulation. So between Azure and AWS, you choose what feel more comfortable to us. All the specs can be seen with more detail in the board. The proposed architecture. In this slide, you have the total architecture of the project, starting from the sensors in the ground, in the field, that will acquire the data. This data will be transmitted via LoRa to the gateways, and the gateways will redirect the data to the TTN and further to the cloud, in this case AWS. And that is where we will processing the data. The data we will be sending to the dashboard to be monitored by the final user. Implementation. To field implementation, the sensors with the background in the picture will send various data from soil, air, almond trees, critical node parameters, etc., and send data to the TTN, the Things Network server using LoRa1. The gateway is marked with a white background in the picture, and they have approximately a maximum radius of 1 kilometer line sight. AWS integration. In this slide, we have a graphical representation of the communication AWS. We will receive the data from LoRa1, the Things Network, and choose the rules where the specific data that we need to organize it in functions, so we can send it to the dashboards. Sensors. We have several sensors to send the data, like dragging the devices for temperature and humidity, soil devices for temperature, humidity, and electrical conductivity, and water flow sensors for volume and alarms. All sensors will send general data, like signal-to-noise ratio, receive signal strength indicators, location, airtime. You can see the details in the above board, and his own data, like the data in the sensor, like temperature, humidity, battery. You can see one example in the bottom board. The dashboards. This data can be stored and later used for creating the dashboards and key performance indicated to be analyzed, for example, by data scientists, and to support the organization decisions using QuickSight. To conclude, and for the research, with the scope of precision agriculture, combine the use of state-of-art technological innovations to support decision-making for promotion of better working techniques. Agricultural data present in dashboards will allow an interactive analysis of data, enable stakeholders to sites to support their decisions. And, of course, better use of natural resources and protection of the environment in the Beira Baixa region of Portugal. For further research, we will involve industrial and academic partners to develop an integrated solution, and systems accuracy can be improved by choosing reliable sensors which will fit appropriate cloud services. That's all I have to say. Thank you for your attention.
Once again, the floor is open for questions. We have a lot of people here that can obviously speak. Don't be afraid. No, while you are thinking, I have also another question. And this question is related with autonomy and battery power. You talk about a lot of sensors that must be installed in a location free of cable electricity. So do you think that autonomy of the sensors is important or not?
Yes, of course, autonomy is important because you don't have any connections to power the sensors, so we'll use a solar panel to power the sensors. This solar panel will have an algorithm to try to optimize the autonomy of the sensors.
Questions? No? Well, thank you once again, Antonino.
Thank you.
Okay, then we'll jump to our next presenter. The paper is entitled Leveraging Moroccan Arabic Sentiment Analysis Using Arabert and Carib.
I think it's not visible yet. Okay. Thank you. So I'm glad to be here in front of you to present my article. My name is Ghizlan Bourahouat. I'm from Morocco, from School of Information Sciences. So I'm here to present my article entitled Leveraging Moroccan Arabic Sentiment Analysis Using Arabert and Carib. So from the title, there are some keywords that appear like analysis, Arabic, Carib, Arabert, and so all these words I'll be more elucidated following the following outline. First, we're going to see a general context with Arabic analysis, the Arabic language, and why it is so important to make sentiment analysis using Arabic language. You are going to see what is a BERT model, Arabert and Carib model, and their specificities. We are going to see some related works regarding sentiment analysis in Arabic field, proposed approach, experiments, and then a conclusion. So first of all, let's see what is Arabic symbol analysis. So as we always know, symbol analysis, as the name may show, it is the field that analyze people's opinion and attitudes towards some entities, like opinion, some products, their point of view regarding some society or something else. And if we speak like in technical way, systems analysis is an automation of the extraction and classification of sentiments from sentiment views using NLP, like natural language processing, and computational techniques. And if we see like what is Arabic systems analysis, it's just a combination of systems analysis applied to Arabic, and then we got the ASI, or Arabic systems analysis. So why Arabic in specific way? So first of all, Arabic is a Semitic language. By Semitic, we mean that by just adding like prefix or suffix, we can get like a new word with a new meaning and different meaning, of course. It is written from right to left, so which is the contradiction to English, which is from left to right. Arabic also comprises diacritics, like these short vowels, as you can see in the left side, some short vowels that's inscribed, and these vowels give the meaning to the word. And another point is that in Arabic language we can have some different types. First we have the classical Arabic, the one used in literature, the modern standard Arabic used in schools and newspapers, and Arabic dialects. And in dialect Arabic we have also different types. We have the Egyptian, the Levantine, the Gulf, the Iraqi, and the Maghrebi. And in the Maghrebi we can stand the Moroccan dialect. And in the Moroccan dialect, what is the most specificity in this dialect is that we have the glossia. And the glossia, what means that we have a code switching. As we can have in the same phrase, we can have the Arabic word with French, with the Spanish, so different languages in the same phrase. And of course, this is complex to process by machines. And now we switch to BERT. BERT stands for bidirectional encoder representation from transformers. So it is a language representation model that is based on transformer. And transformers are based in attention, and attention is like a mechanism that focuses on some specific words, and that can process the entire word or the entire sentence to get focused on the contextual meaning, also not only on the syntax. And in BERT, what we are going to put the focus on is the embedding, or the numerical representation. So what is specific in the embedding of BERT? That's we have two specific tokens, classification and separator token. For example, we're going to have the first input that gets in the input section, and then we are going to read the entire section, the entire sentence, and to get the embedding based on all the surrounding words, and not only on the position of the word only, but based on the surrounding also. And for BERT, it was first developed for English language, but after BERT has been trained on several other languages, including the Arabic one, and we have got like many and several BERT models for Arabic. And for the Arabic, we have we mentioned the Arabic model, and for the Arabic model is of course based on the BERT model. It is pre-trained using the modern standard Arabic, as we have already seen in the types of Arabic. And the corpora that was used, it was consistent of internet text and news articles. Then we moved to the Carib model. The Carib is also based on BERT model, but the specificity of Carib is the Carib was trained on modern standard Arabic, and also for dialectical BERT model. and it was trained on a collection of 420 million tweets. So because if it was for dialects in first place. For related works, I may present like few works that were written like Arabic language. As we can see that there are two articles that was aimed to analyze sentiments for Arabic using CNN technique. Two others for using SVM or machine learning technique for Arabic language and specifically for dialect Moroccan language. And we have like other articles using Arabert and Carib and other models or articles using like a combination of Arabert with SVM or Carib with SVM. So as our work focused on Moroccan dialects and using transformer Arabert model, we can see that only two articles was implementing Moroccan dialect, but they were using only SVM technique, and we see that there are one article that has implemented Arabert with SVM, like, but for this work, it hasn't been for Moroccan dialects. It was for systems analysis in Arabic in general. So hence came the idea to build a system that focus on Moroccan dialect system analysis using both Arabert and Carib, and with this Arabert model, combine them with SVM and CNN. So we can see what is the difference between using only the BERT models and the difference if we combine them with machine or deep learning algorithms. And we can now move to the approach proposed. So first we have the Moroccan dialect dataset, then we are going to process it, and then we have the embedding techniques or the numerical representation when we have used both models, Arabert and Carib, and then the classification will be by using the same models of BERT, and then we combine them with SVM and CNN to see the difference. And as we are going to focus on the embedding and the classification, here a general review. So if we can give an example of an input, then we have going to pre-process it, make the embedding with the BERT model classification. The embedded input will be the input of the classification using BERT models and SVM or CNN and the classification. And for the experiments, we have chosen like MSD dataset that was consistent of dialect weights, of Moroccan dialect, of course. And for the first time, you have seen that the data is highly imbalanced. So as first technique, we have used undersampling so that we have determined a balance to get 6,789 for both classes negative and positive sensory hands to make a binary classification. And after the classification, we had to specify one of the important parameters, which is maximum length of the sequence. And for that, we have seen that in the average, the maximum length is less than 150. And then we can now move to the results. So we can see that while using SVM with Carib and Arabert embedding, we can see that there is an accuracy of 85% with Arabert and 91% for Carib. While combining with Arabert and CNN, we see that there is a performance of 75% with Arabert and 82% with Carib. And when combining the Arabert embedding with the same model, we can see that there is an accuracy, an increase of the accuracy with 92% for Arabert and 93% for Carib. And so if we classify them, we can see that the best performance is when we've used algorithm with the same embedding. For like example, Arabert embedding and Arabert model and Carib with the same model to have 93%. So as a result, we found that the transformer-based model generally outperformed the standard machine learning and deep learning models. We also found that the machine learning algorithm, which is SVM, outperformed the deep learning while using for Moroccan dialect and system analysis. And we can also say that there is not a big difference between Arabert and Carib once displaying or applying it for the Moroccan dialect, since there is only 1% of difference between Carib and Arabert. And as we can see, if we get back to the recent works, we can see that for our article, it was applied for Moroccan dialect to realize the analysis, and we've combined several algorithms of machine learning and deep learning to get the performance of the model. And as a future work, we hope to look into other Arabic transformer for tasks, and also to use other BERT models to see the performance of Arabic systems analysis while using them. And these are some references of the work that was used. And thank you. If there is any questions or any remarks, I'll be glad to receive them.
Once again, the floor is open for questions. Questions? Well, I always have a question. I'm sorry. I have actually two questions. One of them is if you can tell us which tool did you use to implement those algorithms and to get those results? Was a commercial tool like Power BI, or did you use your own programming? And the second question is, and it may be a stupid question, I'm sorry, but do you think that this kind of approach may be used, for example, for applications like Siri in iPhone to recognize the sentiment of the person that is speaking to the mobile phone?
Yes, so for the last question of if you can include these techniques in like some application like Siri, I think that it's always a good thing to get like these techniques in some application like Siri or Alexa or others, because if it was the processing of the input or the need of the person will be more clear. So the application will know if the demand, is it positive or negative, and in case of Moroccan or Arabic dialect, so in that case, Siri or Alexa will not be also only based for English or French language, but they can also take into consideration Arabic ones. And for the first question?
The first question was about the tool that you used to get the results. Software. Did you use commercial software, or did you use other tools?
So for the software, I used Google Laboratory to train the model, and also I've made like local in my computer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Thank you too. If there's no question.
No more questions? Well, anyway, we'll be here during the day, so anyone who is more shy than usual may ask the question personally. Well, thank you.
Okay. Thank you too.
Okay, now the next presentation is an online presentation, and also we'll ask the help from the colleagues upstairs. We are looking for Fabiana Racco, and the title is Inspired Project, Integrated Technologies for Smart Buildings and Predictive Maintenance.
for the opportunity to share some of our research results. My name is Fabiana Racco from I am a researcher at the University of Ferrara, and on behalf of all the authors, I'll introduce you some results of this project entitled Inspire Project Integrated Technologies for Smart Buildings and Predictive Maintenance. Well, applying integrated digital technologies for the maintenance and management of the built heritage appears to be one of the main current challenges, especially in our national context, for the definition and application of digitization protocols for the construction supply chain. Key enabling technologies, collaborative platform, big data management and information integration in a BIM environment especially are areas of increasing experimentation. The Inspire project implements the design of a predictive diagnostic system for monitoring the status of preservation of existing architectural heritage materials, components, and systems that are reaching the end of their useful life under normal working condition. The choice to operate the experimentation on some examples of the 20th century social housing is closely linked to the technological and construction characteristics of the heritage under examination, as well as to the specificities of the end users who inhabit it. Definitely, it is an example of fragility, both at the level of technological system and social system as well. In fact, the construction characteristics and energy and structural performance of public social housing in Italy make it possible to extend the reasoning and outcomes of the research to the wider built heritage. I have to say that this type of research was performed during the pandemic period, was implemented thanks to European structural funds managed by the Emilia-Romagna region in the north of Italy, and within a public-private partnership in which were involved three main universities of the region, Ferrara Universities as a lead partner, University of Bologna and University of Modena and Reggio Emilia, and one national research center, as well as an innovation center and a lot of companies, small, medium companies, startups, and also big companies which are located in our region, but also outside our region. A variety of data resources are implemented within the project, and especially with reference to big data management and information integration in a BIM environment were considered the key factors in order to develop the integrated solution. In the field of the intervention of the built heritage, in fact, it is the boundaries and opportunities offered by the integration of many different information sources that constitutes the main challenges. I remind you that our supply chain in Italy is mainly characterized by small, medium enterprise and very often by very small offices and architectural and engineering offices. Information characterized by increasing completeness were included in order to provide a flexible and scalable platform on context with a huge variety of data sources for instance, laser scanning 3D survey, but also bidimensional data sources, as well as implementation of the digital twin according to BIM approach in order to complete and to implement all over the time all the information, as well as direct survey with reference to construction and material techniques and characteristics, and also energy performance. But at the same time, also a multi-scalar analysis are made possible within the platform, thanks also to the integration of satellite data. The realized platform can support incoming traffic from any network, IoT and non-IoT, capable of collecting, saving, and analyzing the collected data. The integrated solution thus developed as distinguished into areas with different functionalities. The main functionalities is the dashboard home, the portal displays using maps and or data recorded by acquisition systems with the summary indexes of the status of the monitoring, census building, active monitoring, alerts, new buildings, and so on. It also consists of 3 separate thematic tabs for maps, alert, and buildings. And after that, the user can go through more in detail to each building as well. The integration of key enabling technologies for the implementation of data sharing and visualization platforms aimed at management of intervention on the existing built environment and maintenance, including predictive maintenance of the built heritage, can contribute greatly to the digitization processes of the supply chain. This was one of the main goals, one of the main achievements that the partnership, public-private partnership, would achieve during the project. However, barriers to the introduction of the technologies under consideration persist, especially with reference to, and I mean with reference to our national context, the knowledge and skills required to exploit the data in advanced digital databases such as those analyzed in the studies. For instance, the 3D point cloud, it's not usually used as a direct source of information within our supply chain. Moreover, digital data preservation and obsolescence, and also I mentioned point cloud database visualization quality in non-native software. We definitely use also free solutions in order to implement also scalable applications, but the fact is, from the point of view of researchers like me and other colleagues of mine who are specialized in 3D survey, data visualization, modeling, and so on, one of the main challenges today is the quality of visualization in non-native software, which could be a barrier in order to introduce the direct application of these solutions all over the supply chain. Thank you for your attention.
Any question from the audience or from the online audience? If someone from the online audience wants to speak, please raise their hand. No. Well, as usual, I have also another question. Can you hear me, Fabiana?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. For my question is related with predictive maintenance that you spoke about. This predictive maintenance is related with the structural building or the technical installations, or both?
Yes, thank you very much for the question, because it was really a challenge within the partnership, because since we arrived to the conclusion that, for instance, with reference to building energy performance, it would be possible to perform after a long period of data collection a predictive protocol in order to transfer some main performances to the analysis of other existing built heritage. From the point of view of structural analysis, definitely we found that case by case is more frequent. The solution, it's hard to realize an effective predictive protocol with that reference to the use cases I mentioned. So that was our results, our outcomes. In fact, we are trying to develop in a second project in this period, this type, we are trying to face in this type of challenge and to find some more solutions in order, well, to modeling some behavior of the buildings with the good predictive results.
Thank you. So, questions on the audience here? No? Well, Fabian, once again, thank you for your presentation.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, now we'll jump for the last presentation, called Automated Registration of Building Scan with BIM through Detection of Congruent Corner Points.
The topic of my presentation is automatic registration of building scan with BIM through the detection of congruent or matching corner points. These are the table of content. Let's get straight to the introduction. My research topic is a part of intense research that aims to improve the construction progress monitoring. If we talk about the current method of construction progress monitoring, the current methods are time-consuming, labor-intensive, and due to the human involvement, they are inaccurate or involve a lot of missing information. Due to that, we have a lot of schedule delays, additional cost, and then there's a lot of dispute between the different stakeholders at the construction site. To do that, the construction demands an automatic construction progress monitoring methods. So if we normally the research that is focused on the automatic progress monitoring, it has, like most of the researchers, they have talked about the model-based assessment. In a model-based assessment, we compare a scan of a project that is normally acquired by a laser scanner or through the 2D images that are later processed from the photogrammetry to get the 3D data. That is compared with the BIM model, but the problem with that, in that issue is that both the data, the scan and the BIM, they need to be aligned with each other. And this process is known as the registration. Who knows, and this topic is also known as the scan versus BIM method. Those who don't know about the scan versus BIM, This is a scan of our project, and this is the BIM model. The scan is acquired through a laser scanner, and the corresponding model that is prepared artificially on the computer program. So this, you can see there is a lot of differences. This is the conference room from our university. The left side is the laser scan data, and the right side you can see the BIM model of that conference room. This is another data. You can see the differences in both the model. So why we do that? We do that when we have a data which is registered totally with each other, then we can see the differences, and later the differences can be interpreted into the progress information or the quality information. Let's get back to the introduction. Now, to do this scan, as I talked before, to do that, both the scan data and the BIM data, they need to be totally aligned or registered with each other, and this is a very major challenge. If we talk about the registration, how people do that, it's a very active research topic in scan versus scan. Normally, like, we have a scan which is collected from this room, then we have another scan that is collected from that door. Normally there is a lot of research that make you able to register those scan with another scan. But if we talk about scan versus BIM, you wanted to register a scan with the BIM, then this is a huge challenge, and this is relatively not an active research as compared to scan versus scan. So normally, to perform a registration, we apply a strategy in which first we perform the coarse registration, and then we do the fine registration. The coarse registration is we are trying to register both models roughly with each other, while the fine registration it basically refine the results and gives the better accuracy. Fine registration is not a big challenge, and we have a lot of popular algorithm like ICP that can do the job, but the coarse registration is still a challenge. Normally we have a two-step, we follow a two-step strategy. First we extract the geometric feature, and then we identify the matching feature. Let's talk about back to the building. Building have a planar geometry. We have a lot of planar features which are very abundant and dominant. And if we try, and lot of research, we have a lot of research that try to use those features to perform the registration. But now the major challenges in these researches are that they didn't have the discriminatory features defined. In our research, we have used the corner point of the building to perform to extract those corner points and then to perform the registration based on those points. Let's go to the methodology. These are the three simple steps. First, we try to extract the corner point, and then we assess those corner points to find their matching and the transformation, and in the end, we have a lot of transformation. We identify the most accurate one. The main aim of our first step is to extract a corner point from the both model, from the scan model and from the as-built model. When the as-planned model in this presentation is represented in the green color, while the as-built model or the scan model is represented in the red color. To do that, first we try to segment the planar features from our model. We have discussed this topic in my journal paper that is referenced here, so I'm not going to discuss this in detail. And the second is then when we have the planar features of the models, then we can define what is the corner point. In our research, we have defined that if we have a 3 non-parallel plane segment and they intersect at some point, then we can call it as a corner point, and the equation that we have used is simple, is as shown. And so this is something like that for a BIM model. And the second step and the main step, we try to assess those corner points to find their matching and to find their transformation. To find their matching, what we have do that we have performed the pairwise processing using a lot of geometric criteria. As you can see in the left side, we have like a lot of corner points, and the right side we have found their matching. How we found their matching? We perform we uses the basics. if we have a corner point from a BIM model, we define it as MI, and then we have a corresponding matching model from the scan, we say that it's a DI, and if we have two points, then we came up with something like that. Then we created some geometric criteria that these 2 points, they have exactly the same distance, they have the same angle, they should have the same rotation, they have the same translation. I'm not going to explain all of these geometric criteria. I have explained them in the paper. After that, we are able to find their matching. And the second step is when we have found their matching or their congruency, then we try to find their transformation parameters, their corresponding transformation. Each matching corner point has its corresponding transformation parameter. And in the end, we have something like that. You can ignore that top model. So now we have, for example, if we have 100 corner points, then we will be having hundreds of transformation parameters. Now we have to find out the most accurate one. To do that, we have used a very intelligent strategy. We will process each pair of matching corner point, and then we will also process each transformation parameter, both the rotation and both the translation. And then we try to, and for each transformation parameter using all the corner points, we will try to find their error. And the error will define their fitness, or in other words, it will define their accuracy. And the pair of transformation parameter, the rotation and the translation giving us the lowest error, we will say that this is the most accurate transformation parameter. So in this, these 4 case studies, you can see that the left one is the most accurate one. We try to test our methodology on the stimulated data set and as well as the real data set. For the stimulated data set, we try to represent a challenging environment representing a kind of a different structural of a building. You can see that on the left side, it's a very simple building. On the right side, it's a 3-floor building having a different triangulated building. Similarly, for a real data set that I have in the start, that I shown in the start, this is as built, the scan model and the BIM model. The results of the first one, you can see that it's the accuracy is quite high. And this is the second one. In the first one, we have the 16, I think, matching corner point, and the second one, we have 22 corner points. Then we also try to do that on on a real life data sets, and the results are that those who are wondering, in the below you can see that the as-built model and the S-plan model, and technically these are the results. You can see that the RMSE, root mean square error, is very low and it's quite accurate. And in the end, I will conclude that we have devised a very novel method that uses the corner point features of the building to perform the registration for scan versus BIM. It performed the registration in the real life data set as well, and the registration accuracy is very high. And in terms of automated construction progress monitoring, if we have the matching corner points, so we can also identify the matching features, and and we also identify the matching structural component. And by identifying the matching structural component, we basically enhance the advantages of the automatic construction monitoring that basically compares the matching components. Thank you very much. If anyone has the question, please ask. Yes, please. Yes, please.
Yes, we have finally one question.
Now, yeah, thank you very much for your presentation. I have 2 questions. Well, you use laser scanner. I would like to know which format you use. You process your data from cloud points and you create AFC file, I suppose. So, which format do you use after processing your cloud points? You create AFC file or only CAD file?
I would like to highlight here that initially we were using a lot of commercial software, but our research project, which demands us to use the open source. So this project, everything is performed on Python using the open source algorithm, and then we have also created some other algorithm by our own. So these are all using the Open3D to process the point clouds. We use the Open3D library of Python.
Okay.
And to create the BIM model, we uses the IFC open source BIM. So we are using the pure IFC.
Okay.
And if we, later we have also used, like in the next part of our research, we are integrated a lot of planning information and the costing information. And for that, we have used the Blender. Otherwise, our research is totally utilizing the Python environment.
Thank you. Maybe it's in your perspective. Do you use pictures? On many laser scanners, you can take cloud points. In the same time, you can take pictures. I think if you use pictures in addition, you can have more details, and it's faster to process images than cloud points, not?
Yeah, you are very right. Like if we integrate the pictures with the 3D point, then we have a 4th dimension, which is the color. And we also analyze that how the color information can help us to help us to register the data in more efficient way. This is another parallel research that we are currently doing, and we are using the color data and as well as the texture information as well using the machine learning model. So we are already utilizing that information. This was just like for the buildings which have a lot of like planar features, so we try to focus on more on the planar features.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
I have a question.
Yes, please.
So what about the time-consuming processing?
Yeah, the problem with our technique is at this moment is that if we have a lot of like corner point, like more than 500, like till I think 400 or 450, the computation time is okay, like it's 2 or like 2 or 3 seconds. But after that, the time efficiency, the time it exponentially increased because we are using a lot of geometric criteria. To handle that, we are using the RANSAC. So what RANSAC do is that it randomly selects the point from both metal, and then we have added another additional step that can verify other matching corner point as well. So to do that, we are using the RANSAC in the algorithm.
Okay, thank you.
There is a question over there on the top.
Hello, thank you for your presentation. So I have one question. You use ICP for registration, and I suppose that you use the rigid registration. And
Can you repeat? We are using the ICP for...
ICP,
and
yes. Your objects, you can stop in one of these figures, have very linear lines, rectangles, and ICP in the rigid format had good results for this kind of the figures. But for example, in image with no linearities, ICP in rigid format have problems for registration. Why not divide this in 2 steps? First, rigid registration for a first approximation, and in the second step, an affine registration to obtain better results.
Okay.
This is...
Yeah. Basically, the registration process is divided into 2 steps. First, we do the coarse registration, and then we do the fine registration. Fine registration problem, it is already solved because due to the ICP and the other. This method, it is focused on the coarse registration, which is still a challenge. So what we are trying to show is that we have a methodology that is giving a very accurate result that you can even compare with the ICP, so you don't need a ICP. Although you can, after performing this, you can still perform the ICP algorithm as well, but the results, they are very much accurate. So.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Any more questions? Well, as usual, I have a question.
Yes, please.
And since it's not my field of study, I'm just asking, in case the building has curved surfaces, as it is very usual now, how do you cope with that?
Yeah, it doesn't matter if the buildings have curves or not, but it always have planar feature. Like the building always have the roof, the building always have the walls. So we can use the already planar feature to find out the corner points. So we, like for example, if we have a typical building which have a, let's say 20 corner points, and if we introduce the curves, then the corner point may be reduced to the like 20 to the 10 or 8. So we still have enough corner point to perform our method. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Well, last chance for the last question. No? Okay, so we'll have a lunch break now, and we'll come back at 2:30. Yes, exactly. So thank you once again for your presence, and let's give a big applause for all the presenters and the keynotes.